Hello everybody, welcome to the Thursday night stream. Last time we finished Metal Gear Solid 4, so tonight we're going to play the next game that came out. Well, actually I don't remember the exact chronological order. Portable Ops came out around the same time as Metal Gear Solid 4, or around that time. I don't remember before or after, but it was not directed by Hideo Kojima, and as I've said a couple of times, I'm not going to play it. So, we're just going to jump straight ahead to Peace Walker. Now, Peace Walker, Peace Walker's an interesting one because even though I'm playing it on the PlayStation 3, it originally came out on the PSP. So its graphics are going to be very low polygon, and the textures are going to be, well, the textures are a lot higher resolution in this version, but they're still going to be kind of low res, even compared to, say, Metal Gear Solid 3. Although we played the HD version of that on stream, so still, you know, this was a PSP game, so it has quite a few different design decisions that reflect that. I'm not sure why it's taking a long time to configure system data. Having played this twice before, I've actually kind of forgotten if you can have multiple save files. I hope you can. I don't think you could in the PSP version, though. Could be wrong about that. I don't really remember. But, if not, I don't really know for sure what I'm gonna do. But yeah, so this was a PSP game that was directed by Hideo Kojima. And since it had, and it also had online co-op play and that sort of thing, you have to enter a player name before you start. And I've just realized I'm not even signed into the PlayStation Network, and I can't right now. Alright, so I'm just going to name myself yeah. There we go. I don't use this sort of thing very much. Oh. I'd made that capital. I don't really want that to be capital. There we go. It's a good thing I chose to play this in HD, you know, so it looks like an old TV. And then you select your control scheme. Now, interesting thing about these control schemes, this screen appeared on the PSP version as well, but it was kind of important because because you know it was the PlayStation, it was the PSP. It didn't have a second analog stick, so it was actually really annoying no matter which control scheme you were using. So it was really important to pick one that you were at least somewhat you felt one that felt at least somewhat comfortable to you. So shooter type, it said, is similar to Metal Gear Solid 4. I would like to point out in the PSP version that meant that you used the analog stick to move, and the face buttons, actually, triangle, square, circle, and X, to aim your gun, which was really obnoxious. But there isn't really, you know, none of these control schemes are like that, because this actually has a second analog stick. So, as it said, Hunter type is actually for people who really like the Monster Hunter games. I haven't really played them very much, but we just got through Metal Gear Solid 4, so I guess that's how I'm going to do that. I like to do 3-slot cycle for at least weapon select. I think for item select, I usually like equip on equip, actually. I don't know. I don't really remember. I'll try 3-slot cycle for both. You can always change it. And for the select button, I definitely want co-ops communication. Yeah. Okay, good. So my previous save was called Dugong, and it has, what is that? 58 hours. 58 hours in this game. Yeah, I think I left it on the pause menu a while, but it does have a lot of content, even compared to the other Metal Gear games.
Hey, boss! Wanna go around?
So, this is the tutorial of the game. This game works a bit differently from the others, so they kind of start with a real tutorial for this one. Unlike all the other games, really.
Look alive, ladies! The boss is gonna join us! Show him how it's done, boss! Your first priority in enemy territory is knowing your surroundings. Your life depends on where you are looking, and how fast you can identify your target. Therefore, you must first master moving your line of sight. To move your line of sight, use the right stick. Now when I give you an order, look in that direction.
Yeah, again, you couldn't do that to look to the left and right or up and down.
Good.
In the
Look
PSP
down.
version, it works differently.
Good. You should be
But
familiar
not
with the
that
up and
differently.
down controls now. Press the
This
action
is still a
button if you're
pretty
ready to
weird
move on.
tutorial.
Okay.
Goes a little bit overboard.
Next, we'll check your left and right.
Oh no! How do
Look
we
right.
move left and right?
Good. Look left. Good.
Oh, they're inverted. I need to change
You should
that.
be familiar with the left and right controls now. Press the action button if you're ready to move on.
Oh no, I don't think I got that.
Okay.
Okay.
You can change the controls anytime in options. Go with the method that works best for you. Next, I'll explain how to change stances. If you just stand there like an idiot in front of an enemy, you might as well kill yourself now. At times, you will need to get low to avoid detection. You have 3 stances: stand, crouch, and lying down. To change stances, use the crouch button. Tap the crouch button to change between standing and crouching. You can move in either stance. Hold the crouch button and keep it held to lie down. However, you cannot move while you are lying down. I'll say that again. You cannot move while lying down. Is that clear?
So that is something different. You actually can't move when lying down in this game. You just kind of lay there. Trying to move the stick just moves the camera.
Good. Next, we'll work on your movement. Use the left stick to move around. Tilt it a little to walk slowly. Tilt farther to run. Decide which to use based on your situation. Remember that your footsteps are louder when running, making you easier to discover. Be careful!
That was something, well, I mean, that's still from Metal Gear Solid 4, but...
Good! Now we have rolling. Rolling is useful for knocking down enemies in your way, and for getting away when surrounded. You can also use it to jump over small ditches and other obstacles. To roll, tap the crouch button while running. You got that? Tap the crouch button while running! Don't forget it!
Okay, so it works just like in the other games. You can even do it
That's
when
it.
crouched.
Next, I will explain how to attack without gunfire. You may run into an enemy unexpectedly. You may not have a weapon on you, or you may be out of ammo. You'll still need an effective attack strategy. One well-placed strike and the enemy won't know what hit him. To strike an enemy, press the attack button while standing still. On my command, press the attack button repeatedly and take down your opponent. Go!
CQC
I'm
is
ready,
somewhat
boss.
simplified in this game. Well,
Impressive, boss!
yeah, it's somewhat
Next,
simplified
we're
in
gonna
this
practice
game.
using the stun rod. Hitting someone with the stun rod will
Works a very
shock them with
different
1.5 million volts. Anyone on the receiving end of that is guaranteed to be out cold.
They put
To
off the
use
rest of the
stun
explanation
rod,
for
Press
later.
the aim button to
But
ready it, then press the attack
There's
button.
the way
You'll be glad to
grappling
know
works
we're
is
using mock
pretty
stun rods
different.
for this
It's
training
still
session.
got a lot of
When your
similarities,
partner
but
attacks,
it's pretty
make
different.
him believe it's the real deal. Prepare yourself for stun rod training. Go!
I'm ready, boss.
Fine work, boss!
They're so
Now
complimentary.
we'll move on to CQC. CQC, or Close Quarters Combat, refers to when engaging an enemy in battle at very close range. It is a quick and efficient way of eliminating a threat. There are various CQC techniques. We will go over each of them. Don't get cocky because you think you know them. This will be different from what you're used to. Pretend you are learning it for the first time. The first technique is throwing your opponent. To do this, position yourself near your opponent and press the attack button while you tilt the left stick. Be sure to press the attack button when the icon appears. Now, wait for my command and throw your opponent. Go!
So
I'm ready, boss.
the only difference here is that you have to you'll get an indicator when you can grab somebody. That's really the
Fine
only
work,
difference
boss!
for this particular move.
Next, I'm going to teach you how to restrain an opponent close to you. This is a cornerstone of CQC. Grab hold of an enemy, and the bastard's life is in your hands. What you do from there is up to you. Just know that if you restrain him for too long, the average person will most likely pass out. Something to keep in mind. Let's begin. To restrain your opponent, hold down the attack button while near them. Restrain your opponent on my command. Go!
I'm ready, boss.
So you have to, stand still, just like previously.
Impressive, boss!
You can choke them out.
Now we will throw your
Oh.
opponent after
Okay.
restraining them. To throw an enemy to the ground, press a direction on the left stick when you have them restrained. Restrain your opponent and throw them on my command. Go!
I'm ready, boss.
So if you restrain them first and then throw them, which you only do by just tilting the stick now. You could do that
Impressive,
previously
boss!
and it did less damage.
Now we will try CQC
But in this game,
against
it actually does
multiple
more
enemy
damage if you
opponents.
do it that way.
You can also take out a group of enemies by throwing an opponent you have restrained. First, restrain an opponent by pressing the attack button near them. Then, tilt the left stick to throw them. By tilting the left stick toward other enemies, you can send your captive flying straight into them. On my command, restrain and then throw your opponent.
This is the most different
Go!
part.
I'm ready, boss.
This is probably the coolest new addition. So throw one guy and you'll get an indicator to
That
just
is
throw the other
incorrect,
guy.
boss!
This does a little bit more damage, I think, and
That is incorrect, boss!
it looks really cool. Oh,
That is incorrect, boss!
I have to restrain and then throw it toward the other one. Okay. Well, I showed off a different move. Oh well.
Next. Fantastic! Again!
You'll see that again
Go!
later.
I'm ready, boss.
But yeah, you can aim the person you throw after you restrain them.
Fantastic! All right! Why don't we do something special since the boss is here? Anyone who feels like getting their ass kicked, step forward. Don't hold back, boss. When you're surrounded by multiple enemies, you'll have to take them on one after the
this is the
other.
move
To
that
do it,
I actually
simply
did.
press the attack button again while throwing the current enemy. Just be sure to wait for the icon to appear. Go!
I'm ready, boss.
I seem to remember that this actually took me a while to figure out what it was trying to get me to do. Because I had no idea this was a feature
Fine
when I
work,
first
boss!
started playing this game.
Again! Go!
I'm ready, boss.
You know, I probably could just skip this tutorial. I completely forgot about that. But I kind of want to show it off anyway. It's fun throwing people.
Fantastic! And stop! That's it for today! Thank you, boss! Snake!
This game was actually aimed at a younger demographic. Ow. That's it.
What's going on, Kaz?
We've got guests.
Time to move.
Don't worry, it's not our friends from Langley. I brought him. Made sure we won't follow.
Thank you, big boss.
Call me Snake.
Sorry, Vic boss.
Listen up. For us, there is no victory.
But in Revolution, doesn't one triumph or die?
We don't do either.
Here.
Ah, thank you.
Uh-oh. That was not supposed to happen.
What
Oh,
brings a
crap.
distinguished scholar from the Costa Rican government to Colombia?
Professor Galvez comes from Costa Rica's University for Peace.
You see, over the past year, there have been sightings of an armed group in Costa Rica. They're not ours, of course.
Costa Rica doesn't have an army.
Correct. Article 12 of our Constitution states that the Army as a permanent institution is abolished.
The Peace Constitution.
You think it's rebels who fled Nicaragua?
No, they don't appear to be guerrillas. They're far too organized.
What's your government's take?
The authorities in San Jose claim it's a multinational security firm, hired by the Development Corporation of Costa Rica. Lies, obviously. They're bringing in state-of-the-art weaponry and equipment by the shipload.
Where'd they get that kind of cash?
I fear La CIA may be involved.
The CIA.
As you both know, the United States views Central America as its backyard. Even after Cuba, we've managed to maintain a delicate balance with the US.
And your government can't just give them the boot?
We are not allowed to bear arms.
Japan's constitution has something similar. Article 9. It says Japan renounces war and can't maintain an army.
I understand that you and your men have neither state nor ideology. That you will fight any foe. Please, you must drive them out of our defenseless country. We come to you, the Militaires Sans Frontières.
So, you want to hire us?
Yes, as our deterrent. We can't afford to pay much, it's true. But we can offer you this. A forward operating base. An offshore plant in the Caribbean.
Sounds pretty good to me. This place is becoming a mess anyway. Snake, we need someplace we can settle down.
The governments agreed to cooperate. Unofficially, of course.
A chopper for transport would be nice too.
I'll see what I can do.
Hold it. You seem to think we're just a pack of dogs of war. Is that right?
Yes, that's what I've heard. You're an army without a state.
No, we've only left our countries behind.
Please, you must help us.
If your suspicions are true, force isn't gonna do any good. You'll have to find a political solution.
The government's hands are tied.
Go back to your bosses in San Jose. Tell them if they want, I'll introduce them to a negotiator I know.
No. I'm not here on their behalf.
So, what are you doing here?
For over 20 years, I've preached the virtues of peace at multiple universities. Tonight, I stand before you as an educator. This is my student. She came to me to study peace. Her name is Paz. Paz Ortega.
Paz. Peace.
No kidding. That's my name too. Kazuhira. It's Japanese for peace. Pleased to meet you, Paz. Call me Kaz.
They've got a supply port north of Puerto Limon, a town in La Costa del Mar Caribe. A few days ago, Paz stumbled upon that facility while searching for a lost friend. She was captured. She's only a child, 16 years old. They did terrible things to her, but somehow she managed to escape.
Thank God.
She's huérfana. Her mother died when she was small, and she lost her grandparents in the Civil War. She hates war with a passion like no other.
My name is Paz, and I will do anything to protect my namesake. It is my one and only purpose. Please, get them out of my country. Make them leave Costa Rica.
Sorry, kid.
We know who you are, Big Boss. That is why we've come to you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the point of that one section that you're talking about was to show off her scars, but it does come across in a very creepy way. Oh.
Miller here. Do you copy, Snake? I see you've landed. That makes one giant leap for us. I'm sending this from the offshore plant, our mother base. The signal is unidirectional. I'll be giving you commands and advice through this channel. Keep your headphones on at all times and pay attention. Also, make sure no one else can listen in. Snake, are you clear on the controls? Take a minute to refresh your memory. Use the left stick to move.
Okay, I really don't like this being inverse. I don't know why it was set to inverse. That's really annoying. Oh, man. Why is it set... Why is it set to that?
Use the right stick to adjust your view.
So they just give you a little bit of a target range here.
Change your settings. Use the start button to open the menu. There's no one around. Why not try some shooting practice?
Yeah, why not?
Target and squeeze off a round or two. Press the directional buttons while holding the R2 button to switch weapons. Ready your weapon with the L1 button. Then press the R1 button to fire.
Wonder if I can
How about a
land.
little shooting practice? Try hitting a coconut.
Ah, it bounced. Oh well.
Select equipment by pressing the square or circle button while holding the L2 button to check your map. Press the start button to open the menu.
So you can check the map this way. You can also check the region map, because this is actually... This doesn't have a continual thing. Well, none of the previous games have. This game is made up of a bunch of little areas, like most of the games are. They're much smaller, of course, than they were in Metal Gear Solid 4.
The facility you're headed for is past that fence. A grenade should be able to take out that
Suppressors
Grenades explode. You
wear out really fast.
Snake, use the
But you have a stun
L1
rod.
button to ready throwing weapons. Once you've readied the weapon, throw with the R1 button.
But
When using
there's not much
throwing
reason to.
weapons, hold the attack button down longer to throw farther. You won't throw the weapon until you let go of the
So the
button.
way the aiming works is really
The shoulder
interesting.
view allows you to
It's just
aim
really
with
annoying that he
greater
keeps
precision.
talking.
Body-part targeting correction will automatically shift your
Yeah,
aim
that's
to
what
your
he's talking
nearby
about.
body part. If you want to change the aim settings,
As you
take a
can
look
see, it's
under
snapping
options.
to the hands
Enemy's
and the
vital
head.
points can bring them down with a single shot. You can also intentionally avoid lethal shots. Say if you just want to slow the target down.
So, that's pretty cool. You can also shoot coconuts
22 tranquilizer
off this
gun
tree.
can put enemies to sleep. The closer to the head you hit, the more effective it is. Tranquilizer rounds are hard to come by. Don't waste them.
Seems like I'm missing something, but I can't think of anything. Alright. So, you might think, oh, well, I can crawl under this, but you can't crawl. So, things like that can block you off now. You can also press up against surfaces with the triangle button and knock on them, like in the previous games. And I don't remember if he said it or not, but I think this gate is stuck. Yeah.
Good. jungle. Head east.
Is Master Miller Steve Bloom? No, he's not. I'm pretty sure he's not.
I gotta thank you for agreeing to this, Snake. Man, am I glad to be out of here. Finally, we can leave all that crap in San Geronimo behind. Break into the mercenary business for real. Let me guess. You're doing it for her, aren't you? For her.
Are they still here?
Come on, Snake. This could be good for us. They're willing to give us an offshore plant, a place we can finally put down some roots. This is our chance to expand MSF.
We don't need a place to stay, Kaz. We're nomads. We always will be.
What? You'd rather keep wandering from conflict to conflict? Tools in the hands of whoever's fighting at the time?
The second we settle down, who's to say we won't become the warmongers?
Listen to me, Snake. We're not mercenaries. We're not a foreign legion. MSF's a business. A new kind of business. Look, it's not like we're trying to start a war here. All we need to do is find out who this security company really is.
Come on, Kaz. It's pretty obvious that they're backed by the CIA.
Wait a sec. That would mean...
Our friend, the Professor, is likely KGB.
I see.
We'd be making an enemy of our homeland.
And there'd be no turning back.
Ah, this damn thing won't light.
Huh?
Put on some coffee, Kaz. It's time for a little chat with the Professor.
I was a heavy smoker. When I got my medal from the Secretary General, he gave me this prosthetic hand as well. But smoking was ruining my lungs, so I quit. I've not had much use for it since. It's quite an honor to meet the legendary Big Boss.
That's just a code name the CIA made up.
Then perhaps I should call you John.
I don't have a name. I stopped using that code name you liked so much 10 years ago. What about you, comrade? What do they call you back at Center?
Well then, allow me to get straight to the point. Land as slim as a whip, hot as torture.
That's the Chilean poet, Neruda.
Central America is the navel of the American continents, bridging north and south. We want this land. We'll build a socialist stronghold, then use it to split the Americas in two.
America would lose its backyard.
And with it, its economic production, shipping lanes, and strategic value. We, on the other hand, would gain a base from which all of Latin America would be well within our reach. He who controls Central America will win this Cold War. First comes Nicaragua, toppling the pro-American Somoza regime. In preparation, we've begun instigating anti-Somoza sentiment and providing aid to the Sandinista National Liberation Front.
You're manipulating Sandinista into overthrowing Somoza for you.
After the revolution, Nicaragua will become a socialist state.
You think America's just gonna let that happen?
Certainly not. After all, the CIA is already here.
And that's the armed group inside Costa Rica.
Precisely. It's clear that they've been sent in to disrupt our efforts across the border in Nicaragua. Simply put, the army now stationed in Costa Rica is CIA capital. But it's more complex than that. The CIA's got something else planned as well.
What?
That is the million-dollar question. Big Boss, we want you and your unit to find the answer. Infiltrate and investigate the facility in La Costa, where Paz was imprisoned. Learn all you can of their operations. Then, drive them out of the country.
You're asking us to settle a turf war between the KGB and the CIA?
What about her? That was all just an act?
You mean her words about peace? She was captured, that much is true. But I've kept my KGB affiliation from her.
And you thought we'd fall for a sob story?
No. I had good reason to bring her along. She managed to escape with her life, but her friend was not so lucky. Why were they attacked? I believe this will help explain. Perhaps they saw something they weren't supposed to. Perhaps they heard something they shouldn't have.
A cassette tape?
Paz took this during her escape. She says her friend happened to record it by accident.
What is that?
A portable stereo cassette player. The first of its kind.
Ah, I heard they were working on something like that in Japan. Didn't know you guys were too.
I believe what you're about to hear will help you understand.
What is that? A Quetzal?
The Phoenix bird.
Paz's friend was researching birds. She went out into the jungle to record bird calls and stumbled upon this.
So? So what?
Now it gets interesting.
Poisonous. I need to get rid of it. I chase it back to its nest. You can't. The snake's too vicious. It's all many people. I chase it away. It will bite you unless you kill it. Go home.
Boss. Voice print analysis confirms that this voice is indeed that of the legendary hero and criminal, the Boss.
What?
The other hasn't been identified. Female in her 30s with a British accent. The song playing in the background was a hit in 1973.
What's it going to be? Loyalty to your country or loyalty to me? Your country or your mentor? Your mission or your beliefs?
I am loyal to myself.
Boss is alive in Costa Rica.
As I understand it, she was your commander, fought by your side. And that you killed her under orders from the CIA, thus surpassing her to become the hero known as Big Boss. Well, what'll it be? Will you take the job?
Snake, it's gotta be a trap.
So you still can't turn your back on your country? Then I suppose you won't need this.
Wait!
Snake?
I'll do it for the girl. For Paz.
Okay. For peace, then.
So let me know if the game is still overpowering me.
There they are. CIA mercs. Snake, you've got to get past them undetected. whenever possible.
So just like every other game in this franchise, this is a stealth game. Sneaking mission. Hey.
Hide behind stuff. Take the long way around. Whatever it takes to stay out of sight. Your gun is a last resort. It could just as easily kill you as save you.
And all the same moves are there pretty much. Very similar anyway. Get lots of ammunition from this guy.
Not enough room, huh? We'll keep it here at the base. The indicator in the upper right serves as a compass and shows sound sources. Pay attention to your surroundings. Keep your eye on what's left of your life gauge on the left of the screen. To the right of that, you'll see your sight gauge. Exhausting it will inhibit your action. Your life gauge will recover with time. The sight gauge, too. You'll recover faster crouching than standing up. Lying flat works even better. The percentage in the upper right is your camo index. The lower the number, the more easily you'll be spotted. Conspicuous movements and loud noises will compromise your camo index. Your fatigues will act as camouflage.
Now, because of various mechanics in this game, it's actually, especially on the PS3 version, way easier to sneak through this game than any of the other games. Especially since it auto-targets, you can auto-target people's heads, essentially. There are quite a few other mechanics to this game that cause the same sort of effect. There was not really a reason to pat that guy down, I guess. There's not really any items that I need right now. I don't think there's anything cool in this area. A ration here would be useful. Don't have many to start out with, I guess. But very quickly, those build up, and you have way more than you'll ever need. But you can't carry all of them with you. They get sent as soon as you hit your maximum. They all get sent back to the base. That's good news for me. Well, watch me fail anyway, which will probably happen a lot. Now, I'm kind of used to using some gear that you get later, so yeah, it's entirely possible I'll end up failing this a bunch.
Looks like you're inside the compound. Security is tight. Stay sharp.
Okay, I could probably have moved past that, but decided not to chance it. Didn't want to get caught this early.
Freeze.
Okay. There are a few other mechanics I haven't. Whoops. Yep. Watch me get caught anyway. Yeah. But this game also makes it easier to fight. It's actually just generally pretty easy. For the most part, a pretty easy Metal Gear game. And like usual, I'm not going to worry about killing people for the most part. In fact, in this game, it's a lot harder, actually, to get through it without killing people than most of the other games. Which is funny, because it's actually a much easier game in general. You also can't pause it, which is probably another reason it's so much easier. Note that they took so long to see me, even though I'm standing up in broad daylight in plain view.
No use, boss. Security's too tight. There's no way you can charge it.
And I died. After talking about how much the combat was easier. I didn't even equip a healing item is the problem. But that gives me a chance to actually show off how you play through this section. For real, rather than just sneaking through. However, note that it also said restart mission. So, I managed to fail the first mission, and failing a mission causes you to restart the entire mission.
Can't be too careful.
I guess I wasn't close enough. But as I said, a lot of the mechanics of this game make sneaking through a lot easier. Even though I screwed it up, it was because I was getting cocky and I didn't really pay that much attention.
The upper right serves as a compass and shows sound sources. Pay attention to your
I was actually trying to stand up so that I could run through that, but oh well.
Looks like you're inside the compound. Security is tight. Stay sharp.
Yep. There we go. So we saw the reinforcements come in. The reinforcements are actually very differently dressed from the other characters. They are also kitted out much better. They have much better gear. And that was the end of the mission. Missions are pretty short in this game for the most part, but you'll get some longer ones later. It's meant to be a portable game, so this meant that it's easier to play it for short periods of time.
Yes, sir, we broke him. We acquired the whereabouts of target 500.
Acknowledged. Spears are loaded. The barge has cleared Point Bravo.
Acknowledged. Out.
Freeze! The cargo. Where's it headed? What is it?
Irasu! In the mountains!
What's up there? This is Snake. Kaz, can you hear me?
Loud and clear. You found a radio.
It's got a circuit that reverses the audio phase.
Let's switch frequencies from time to time, just to make sure we're not detected.
I found a map of their bases. The cargo's heading from the marshes west towards Irasu.
Nice going, boss.
Kaz, this place is full of film badges. Dozens of them.
Film badges? Like the ones used to measure radiation exposure?
The radio man was wearing one. And whoever he was talking to called the cargo Spears.
Wait, that would mean...
Nukes. They're bringing nukes into Costa Rica.
Holy Mother of God.
So whereas most Metal Gear Solid games, you get your ranking after having completed the game, for this game, and seemingly for Metal Gear Solid 5, your ranking is given at the end of each mission. And you're judged based on the number of kills and alert phases, which are both 0, because I restarted the mission after dying. I think there might be some missions that have checkpoints, but I don't think most of like this one didn't have any checkpoints. So if I failed, I had to restart the entire mission. Heroism determines something that will come up later, and there are these ranks are determined by what you use during the mission. Doesn't seem to matter. Oh wait, no, it does matter. It just matters if you fired the weapon. It doesn't matter if you actually hit anything. And it is possible to fail those QuickTime events in the cutscenes and still continue. It doesn't give you a game over for any of them, actually, come to think of it. I don't think, anyway. But the story doesn't continue as though you had... the story doesn't take into account what you succeeded and failed or anything. It's just... it has some way for you to do it again, or... you know, something happens where it doesn't matter in one way or another. So yeah, we'll probably see that happen because I tend to forget that there are QuickTime events and put down my controller, as I did this time, and I still succeeded because it was so forgiving. But, oh, the following words can now be infused with heroic spirit. Here. M1C design specs. We get design specs for usually our ranking we get in a mission. Oh.
Think you can use it?
It tells me where their bases are, but it's just a bunch of points. No routes. I need better intel on the lay of the land.
Snake, the professor said he's got the Sandinistas on his side. Said you should get in touch with the FSL and Commandante.
Do they know they're backed by the KGB?
Nah. As far as they know, they're really fighting for the revolution. The KGB is staying behind the scenes. I'm not sure the Sandinistas are aware of what's really going on.
Still can't believe anybody would bring nukes here.
Yeah, that's a shocker. Costa Rica's party to the Tlatelolco Treaty, which declares Latin America a nuke-free zone. Based on Japan's 3 non-nuclear principles, it bans the testing, use, import, or deployment of nuclear weapons. If word of this gets out, Opinol will be forced to act. It'll cause an international uproar.
The treaty was signed to prevent another Cuban Missile Crisis. If the U.S. itself is gonna scrap it...
Latin America is too close to spawning another Cuba or 2 already. The entire continent would become one big powder keg.
Well, if they did bring nukes, we can't let them get away with it.
Are they planning a test? Showing off? Or is it all to keep the anti-American movement in check?
Good question. Why bring them here? I can't figure it out.
Whatever the CIA's up to in Costa Rica, the professor wants it stopped. We need to find out what that something is.
We need to get ready first, Kaz. Repairs?
Working as fast as we can, boss. This place is pretty beat. Looks like hell. But as long as you're with us, we'll make it heaven. No one can bother us here. No state telling us what to do. This is the MSF's haven, our mother base. And with this foothold, we'll back you up even better than before. We're gonna turn this pile of junk into something big.
So, we have a mother base. It looks kind of like the oil cleanup facility in Metal Gear Solid 2 to me. The way it has the struts sticking out of the water and the bridges connecting it. It's squares though, not hexagons. And you can actually look at it in the model viewer if you want. You can see how MSF is coming along. This giant, like, business building is just on one platform next to a helipad. And we got barracks over there. Yeah. You got looks like a tennis court. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's a range of some kind for marksmanship. I don't know. Oh, look. Oh, and that boat. I'm not sure where the boat could dock. Maybe that's why it just seems to go around all over the place. There doesn't appear to be a dock. Just a helipad. But as I was saying, there are... No, I know already. We can develop weapons and that sort of thing, but we need to have... we have certain requirements that we have to meet before we can develop things, and we haven't met those requirements yet. Because we don't have anybody in our R&D team. So everybody has these stats associated with them, including Miller. You actually can't play as Miller, sadly, but you can put him on the combat unit if you want. I think I'm gonna put him... on... Oh, actually, yeah, it's either R&D or combat unit. He does a lot better in combat than R&D. But he's good at everything, so I might actually put him in R&D, come to think of it. It's probably not gonna be that many. Yep. So we can develop some new things, since our R&D team is the correct level for it. We actually got mostly people who are okay. They're actually pretty terrible, as you'll see later. But people who are comparatively okay at R&D as opposed to combat right now. But we do have quite a few combat people. There's going to be quite a few more things to assign. As you can see, there are 3 more stats. But those won't come into play until later. And what we're getting by putting these people in the combat team is GMP, which I think is gross military product, or something like that. And it's what we spend, or rather, it's what we allocate to get to research things. We can't research these yet. The reason I say allocate rather than spend is I can choose is that once this research is done, I'm gonna get that GMP back. It's just basically what you can. It's just funds you can allocate for the time being. I guess it's the idea is that you're getting this money regularly or something. I don't know. But yeah, I'd better go ahead and I think I'm gonna take a short break for now while I set up while I try to connect with Diz, and we're gonna try to get co-op going for this next mission, because I think the next mission allows for co-op. If not, then maybe not. We'll do that. We'll figure that out anyway. And it's about time to take a break. It's been about an hour, so I'm gonna end the video here, and then we'll continue in just a bit.